Welcome to a demo of Shred Lightly. I'm Kristen, and this is the very first front-end focused web application that I built. It is a single page DOM manipulated web app where a user can find mountain bike trails, and the app makes use of the Single Tracks API as well as the Google Maps API. So their search is powered by that data. Right now we see a carousel of images and an input, so that is the only div that we see there, as well as the navigation bar. So to start out, we can put a query into the input field, and we have an autofill option for the user. Once this fetch is made, what's happening first is we are finding the longitude and latitude of Austin, Texas using the Google Map API. We're passing that information into the Single Tracks API so that we get honed in data rendered back to the user based on that location. All right, so you saw that the app automatically pops the user down to the API rendered results. Since this is single page, we didn't necessarily want the user to have to be scrolling to find that information. Once down here, we see Bootstrap cards with some hover over activity, some of that hover over activity being purely visual and other activity indicating functionality. All right, so we also, in each card, we wanted to ensure that if the API was missing information that we wanted to render, such as a photograph or a difficulty level, that we had some values and assets to put into those locations so it didn't sit empty. All right, so some of the functionality within the card is the details. So we can capture more trail details by hitting the details button. This pops us out to the Single Tracks website where we can get additional details. Back in app, we can view maps. And again, we are popping the viewer back up to the map so that they can see exactly where they want to go, and they can interact with that map as needed, or even pop out of the app and go directly to the Google Maps app and interact with that more richly. Okay, some other things that I wanted to point out about this is the sticky nav bar. The most important anchor on the nav bar is the trail search. So when they click that trail search, regardless of where they are at in their scroll, they're going to be popped back up to the input field where they can make another query to another city. And once they've made this query, you'll see that all of the Austin results have disappeared, and now they only have Houston results and Houston maps. In terms of responsiveness, we wanted to ensure that the user didn't lose access to that trail search button. So instead of opting for putting all of the anchors into a hamburger over here, which is pretty typical for a mobile device, we just reduced the scale of the text using media queries so that they always had access to that trail search. And what I mean by that is we didn't want the user to have to click in a hamburger and then click again to get to a trail search. They should only have to click once to get to that, because that is the most important part of this application in terms of navigation, is making sure that they have access to that input field. Thanks so much for stopping by Shred Lightly. I'm happy to answer any additional questions that you may have about this project. If you do, feel free to click that contact link up above, and I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you.